Pretty much every single specific person's success story follows these key 3 phases. This video is going to help you guys spot which phase you might be in right now, upgrade what you're doing, your strategy, maybe help you reflect on some things, areas you can improve on, and just reassure you as well that, oh, this is actually kind of normal. Oh, this can naturally come up during the process. So we're going to talk through all the key phases and stages that you might be experiencing, a general idea of what it looks like. That's what we're getting into in today's video. Welcome back today, guys. We're talking all about your specific person and the actual journey and experience. So the different things you might go through from the beginning up until you receive your actual relationship, because let's be honest, that is the end result that you need to be holding on to and saying, yeah, that is what the result is going to be, and I'm getting there. So we're going to talk about that today in just a moment. Please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. It's easy, it's free. The button's right below the screen. I'd very much appreciate that if you want to see more of my content. I'll throw on screen as well my usual information for anyone considering or looking into coaching, my membership. You get exclusive content, extra support through those methods. So if you want some extra questions answered to do with manifesting beyond just my video content, then please do take a look at those options. And yeah, now let's start the video. The things you might come across and experience initially is doubt, even just logical thoughts, the old story, 3D triggers. So what's going on externally saying, well, this is where I'm at. SP and I aren't together. I don't know SP, whatever it might be. The 3D reality is going to play a big part, and you're going to still be at that point of thinking logically. The old story, which again ties into just the circumstances, or maybe like your actual relationship and kind of like the interpersonal details of what they say, how they've treated you, how they come across, what kind of person you know them to be. And by the way, if they're really awful, please don't manifest that kind of person as your SP. You deserve better. But having said that, you may just, come across doubtful thoughts, anything that opposes the end result as if it's already here right now. So those are the kind of things you might experience, anything triggering and reminding you of the logical old way of thinking. When you first start, that's probably going to be somewhat prominent in your mind. When you start affirming and you decide, okay, these are the affirmations, you probably won't connect to them too strongly. And, you might be excited and motivated and really understand what you're creating, but you're probably not going to fully connect with them as if they're becoming real and feel kind of the emotional resonance and mentally connecting with them fully. That tends to build up a little bit, even if it's just a couple days in, and partially believing in it, at least knowing that it's possible, but you're probably not going to believe it, and that's totally normal. I know people do like to ask that question. Your SP is obviously also going to mirror back to you past assumptions, because there is a delay in your 3D reality. So whether it's something to do with maybe a third party that was either unintentionally created with thoughts or, hot and cold behavior where maybe they're conforming slowly, or it seems like there's still a bit of a push and pull factor. Maybe you're wavering, but initially, the second stage that you're going to be leading into is going to come out of this where you're still, it's kind of like, up and down, hot and cold, and you need to be able to persist once, through this point. Otherwise, you're really going to struggle and not enjoy it and waver a lot. But any hot and cold experiences, the 3D triggers of things that have happened so far, memories, a third party, anything that may have come up, it's reflecting the past. It's pulling from the past. So like weeks ago or even months ago could still be playing out right now. The more you persist, the more consistent you get, the quicker those phases will pass, the quicker those experiences will shift and conform into the version of your reality that you are focusing on. You need to be able to persist past this first stage where maybe it does feel doubtful, you're not super confident, you haven't fully connected into that alignment yet. The goal here, even though you don't have to, especially when it comes to a specific person, work on your self-concept, but you want to at least stabilize that. And it's also just in terms of power, in terms of manifesting, trusting yourself, working on your mindset, having being positive and clear-minded. Those are still versions of self-concept because it's to do with your mindset, the way you think, the way you go about your day. It doesn't just have to be, I'm valued, I'm beautiful, I'm loved. That's like somewhat surface level of self-concept. So you want to have a stable self-concept. Your goal should be, to stabilize the way you think, have a clear mental diet, be able to apply everything to the best of your ability and build on it, work on it, and acknowledge and recognize where things might be going wrong and having that self-awareness, as well as detaching from, the external reality, the 3D, and from needing that proof, trying to detach and again have that self-awareness of, I'm not going to seek signs, I'm not going to constantly analyze what's going on. I know circumstances are irrelevant. These are the things you maybe want to remind yourself of, which is part of a mental diet, and just get into good habits of stopping that in its tracks, replacing it, not feeding into that. This is where your subconscious mind really starts to get saturated and begins accepting the new story. So when I say stages, there is no exact time frame. Please don't panic. The more you quantify it, the more you remind yourself of lack and circumstances. So a stage could be a couple days. If you really persist, if you really get consistent, really study and understand the law of assumption, your mindset, quantum mechanics, all these elements, which I do cover in my videos, then you will really understand why and how it works and how you are in control. So it can be really, really quick. But the second stage is your subconscious getting saturated, accepting the new version of reality, overriding those past beliefs of, I don't have it, SP won't commit to me, or SP isn't texting me, we broke up and they probably don't want to be with me. Being overridden by, SP loves me, SP wants to commit to me, SP is coming in right now. Those are the kind of thoughts and assumptions that are going to be fed into your subconscious mind. When you continue, you get into the second stage, you've persisted, you've been consistent. And then when your 3D reality contradicts that or shows, anything negative, you're probably going to be less emotionally reactive and mentally, because they tie into one another. Your emotions don't exactly manifest. You need your thoughts and mindset to be aligned, because feeling happy isn't going to suddenly, change all your assumptions about your SP, but that, the lessening of the emotional reactivity is going to mean you spiral less, you waver less, you're more in alignment, you're more balanced, more confident, calm. It starts to feel normal. Your whole manifesting routine feels more normal. Just lessening of the mental reactivity, so spiraling and wavering, and feeling better overall. You will also see it reflected in your external reality, which might not be direct visible movement, but it is a bridge of events, a bird before land, it could be movement, a bridge of incidents, all these things are going to reflect in your external reality in one way or another. Examples could be you're reframing your past memories. So you're literally going to maybe forget or reshape and remember positive things about your specific person. Dreaming as well, that is a big sign. I've had that a lot, where if I really focus and hone in on a manifestation relating to that topic, or things that maybe I've looked at visually, a specific affirmation, a specific scene I've imagined, the topic itself, I dream of that relatively often. So I know that's my subconscious being saturated. It's not the be all end all. You don't have to have good or bad dreams, but it is a sign. If you have good dreams connected to it and you're like, that is literally my manifestation, that is a sign. And that is the kind of things that will start to come up. Even though that's more of an internal reflection, but then also your self-concept and things to do with your SP, being in a loving relationship, you might get that treatment from other men, other women, people complimenting you, hearing your affirmations fed back to you. Take that all as a positive win, apply a positive assumption to it and keep going. Use that as motivation to persist, because that is going to be, how it could be reflected in your external reality. One thing you want to make sure you're not doing, kind of a step to avoid and being self-aware in this moment, just knowing if it does happen, I'm going to apply my mental diet, I'm going to stop it in its tracks, but you can avoid it. Assuming and panicking or thinking when you see a lack, or well, not a lack, I don't want to say that, but silence, or it's just calm, the calm before the perfect storm. And you don't really see much happening externally. You don't see much coming in. Don't mistake that for, that you've failed at the manifestation. Nothing's happening. There is no movement. If you say things like that, it slows it down. And then you don't want to kind of create a cycle of having to fall back into the first stage and going through all that doubt. And then, this very up and down internal experience. You can avoid that. Just recognize and understand. If you don't see anything, apply a positive assumption. And that's actually something I talked more about in my previous video as well. Your specific person's behavior, that sounded a bit weird when I said that, will align with your dominant focus, your dominant identity. Are you thinking to yourself and speaking to yourself and kind of going about with your mindset, the way you carry yourself, all of it, as the person who is in this relationship or going on dates or being pursued, being wanted by your specific person? Are you feeling relatively confident? Do you compliment yourself or think relatively positively throughout your day? Do you feel motivated? Do you carry yourself with confidence and kind of this knowing, I'm creating what I want, I'm moving into my ideal reality, I'm becoming the version of me that is treated like that is seen like that by myself and externally, becoming that is your dominant identity. You're focusing as if you're already in the reality where that relationship exists. So also being pursued by your SP, having them wanting or pursuing commitment with you, making it clear, taking that action, consistently messaging you. Obviously, communication is a big thing. If you already are in contact, this might not be a big shift, but usually people are in no contact or they're blocked if there's a past with an SP, or maybe it's someone you don't know, someone brand new, but there will be most likely consistent contact with this person. Them taking action. You're literally in the final stage where this could come up at any moment, but more likely towards the end, it's really building up. You're seeing that physically come in, the words, the behavior, it's aligning with what you're creating. You might also feel much more normal with this. Yes, you might still obviously get excited, happy, but it feels more normal, like your brain has normalized this and started to accept and obviously subconsciously be saturated with images and the concept of the relationship you're creating, of saying it's normal. And, I constantly think of words and visuals and speak as if I'm in this relationship, and I'm constantly thinking romantically and of these things. And yeah, that's how a relationship should be. You're going to normalize this healthy, happy relationship, especially with your actual person. So it's going to play out, and yeah, that's probably going to be a bit of a shock, like, oh my gosh, it's actually here. But it's your brain and the way you think will kind of see it as more normal, and this reality will start to feel more natural and a lot closer to you. So you really want to just focus on embodying this end result, living in the end, thinking from the end, maintaining this mindset to the best of your ability. Obviously, negative thoughts will come up, but you also recognize that, you don't need to spiral based on that, but maintaining those thoughts from the end result. Thinking as if it's here now. That's always the key element. What would you think? Just think of thoughts that are positive. Looping your affirmation as well. That's why affirmations are so easy to do. You just say it or think it over and over. You don't have to believe it, but you want to maintain these thought patterns, these habits. That's what's going to help you normalize, accept, and saturate your mind from the end result. So yeah, I think that kind of summarizes everything. I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys found this useful, reassuring, gave you kind of an overview, whether you're on the first day of manifesting your SP, or you maybe are in the middle, maybe you've had wavering, a bit of a down point. This will give you a good overview of what to expect and kind of how to go about things with your mindset throughout their journey. If you did enjoy, please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time.